Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something really interesting because the latest updates around Janyaman are starting to show a much bigger picture. In this video, we're going to look at why Sandokan is being talked about again, why its impact seems to be continuing even after its TV run, and what that could mean for Janyaman's career. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new Janyaman updates. And if you'd like to support the channel even more, you can also click the join button below. Now let's get into it. One of the most interesting things happening right now is this. Sandokan no longer feels like a project that simply aired and disappeared. In fact, it seems to be entering a new phase. Normally, the cycle for most TV series is very simple. A show premieres, gets attention, people talk about it for a while, and then the conversation moves on. But every now and then, a project keeps growing even after the original broadcast is over. And that is exactly what Sandokan seems to be doing. What makes this so interesting is that the conversation around Sandokan is no longer limited to its TV performance. Instead, the series is now being discussed in a broader way. It's becoming one of those projects that continues to generate attention beyond its original release window. And that matters because the true strength of a show is not always measured only by what happens on premiere night. Sometimes the real impact shows up later. Are people still talking about it? Is it creating new interest in different formats? Is it continuing to exist in the public imagination? With Sandokan, the answer right now looks like yes. One of the clearest signs of that is the growing attention around Sandokan in the home video and Blu-ray space. First, this might sound like a small detail, but it really isn't. In today's streaming era, people consume content quickly and move on even faster. So when a TV series starts drawing real attention in physical format, that tells you something important. It means viewers did not just watch it and forget it. It means some people want to own it, collect it, revisit it, and experience it again in a stronger audiovisual format. That says a lot about the kind of series Sandokan has become. This was never a small-scale project. It had atmosphere, visual ambition, costumes, action, and a kind of cinematic feeling that made it stand out. And when a series has that kind of visual identity, it can often live beyond television itself. People begin to feel that it deserves another kind of viewing experience. They want to see it again with better image quality, stronger sound, and added value. So the home video conversation around Sandokan is not just about sales or rankings. It's about the fact that the series still feels worth returning to. And that brings us to an important point about Janyaman. For an actor, a project like Sandokan is never just another title on a resume. It becomes part of a larger image. It becomes proof that this actor can carry a big production, a visual world, and a story with international scale ambition. So when Sandokan is discussed again now, it also means that Janyaman's screen presence is being discussed again. The series is still working for him even after its first wave of attention. Another important part of this story is the media interest. In a fast-moving entertainment environment, the press usually moves on very quickly. If a project leaves no real mark, it disappears from the conversation. But that is not what we are seeing here. Sandokan is still being brought back into the spotlight. It is still being used as a reference point. It is still giving people new angles to talk about. And that tells us that the project has left a real impression. What is also interesting is that this does not look like pure celebrity attention. It is not only about Janyaman as a public figure. It is also about the series itself, its world, its visual identity, and what it represents. That is a very important difference. Sometimes a star gets attention, but the project around them fades quickly. Here, both the actor and the series continue to have weight. That makes the whole thing more durable. And maybe the most fascinating part of all is that Sandokan seems to be surviving not only as media content, but also as a cultural experience. That is where the recent school and exhibition-related attention becomes really interesting. On the surface, some viewers might see this as a softer kind of news. But in reality, it tells us something powerful. When a series begins to exist through exhibits, educational visits, costume displays, or a world that people physically explore, it starts moving beyond ordinary television status. That changes everything. Because at that point, Sandokan is no longer only a series people watched at home. It becomes a world people can walk into, discuss, and experience in another form. That kind of life after broadcast is not something every production gets. It extends the emotional and cultural life of the project, gives it a second existence. And this is why I think the latest Sandokan developments matter more than they might seem at first glance. Each update on its own may not look like a huge industry-shaking moment, but together they create a very clear picture. Sandokan did not vanish after television, kept its momentum, kept its identity, and it kept generating interest in different ways. That is rare today. We live in a time when most content is consumed quickly and forgotten even faster. A series trends for a few days, maybe a couple of weeks, and then disappears completely. But Sandokan does not seem to be following that pattern. Instead, it feels like one of those projects that continues to gain value after release. And that is a strong sign. So why is Sandokan still holding on so well? I think there are a few reasons. First, the scale of the production. This never felt like a minor TV project. It had ambition from the beginning. Second, the strength of the character itself. Sandokan is not just another fictional role. It carries a legendary quality, a mythic aura, something larger than life. And third, of course, there is John Yaman. Because when a production wants to feel bigger, more charismatic, and visually striking, the lead actor matters enormously. John Yaman has exactly the kind of presence that can help a project like this stay memorable. There is also a psychological side to all this. Viewers do not always want just a story. Sometimes they want an experience. They want scale, romance, danger, atmosphere, and a world they can be immersed in. Sandokan offered that mix. Adventure, visual richness, costume drama, action, emotion, and a powerful central figure. When all of that comes together in the right way, the result is something people do not just consume once and forget. They keep talking about it. And that is why the latest developments feel meaningful. Because the message behind all of them is basically the same. Sandokan is still alive in the conversation. Sandokan still matters. Sandokan still has value beyond the moment it first aired. And perhaps most importantly, it still seems capable of generating interest without needing to start from zero again. For John Yaman, that is a very valuable position to be in. Sometimes, the most important thing in an actor's career is not simply announcing the next project. Sometimes, the most important thing is having a current project that keeps producing value over time. Because that kind of long-lasting impact builds credibility. It sends a message to the industry and to audiences that this actor can lead a series that stays relevant even after the main release phase is over. So when we look at everything together, this is not just about a few Instagram stories or a couple of scattered headlines. It is about a larger pattern. The pattern suggests that one of John Yaman's most important projects is continuing to live beyond its original television window. The home video interest, the ongoing media attention, and the cultural visibility around the project all point in the same direction. Sandokan does not feel finished. It feels like it has entered a new stage. And honestly, that may be the most exciting part for fans. Sometimes you only understand the true strength of a series after the initial broadcast ends. If people are still talking about it, if it is still creating new headlines, if viewers still want to return to its world, then it clearly left a bigger mark than an ordinary TV release. And right now, that is exactly what Sandokan seems to be doing. It will be very interesting to see what happens next. Will the media attention continue? Will the cultural side of the project grow even more? Will its post-TV momentum become an even bigger talking point? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, one thing is clear. Sandokan is still very much part of the conversation, and on John Yaman's side, it remains one of the strongest topics to watch. If you also think Sandokan is continuing to grow even after its TV run, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new John Yaman update. And once again, if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can click the join button below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.